side, do you see you're wrong? Let's flow now with all those pretty little things you buy and all those frowns and sighs as you put it in. Wake up to the sound of silence. Be still and know that I am here. Take my hand, I will hold you. I will wait for your tears. My grace is sufficient for you. My love will wash away the past. Lay your burdens on the shoulders. The trials will pass. Be still and know. Walking down the road, all alone, turned away from home. Why do you, dear, insist on trying to do things on your own when you're crying and screaming that it's all gone away, that you've been put to shame? When will you, dear, open your eyes? Or once I have, I will be here with you, with you, with you, with you. Wake up to the sound of silence. Be still and know that I am here. Take my hand, I will hold you. Wipe away all your tears. My grace is sufficient for you. My love will wash away the past. Lay your burdens on the shoulders. Know the trials will pass. Be still and know. Feel not, feel that I am with you. Be not afraid. Feel not, feel that I am with you. Be not afraid. Wake up to the sound of silence. Be still and know that I am here. Take my hand, I will hold you. Wipe away all your tears. My grace is sufficient for you. My love will wash away the past. Lay your burdens on my shoulders. Know the trials will pass. Be still and know. you look inside, do you see your own? Let's flow now with all those pretty little things you buy and all those frowns and sighs deep red. Wake up to the sound of silence. Be still and know that I am here. Take my hand, I will hold you. I will wait for your tears. My grace is sufficient for you. My love will wash away the past. Lay your burdens on the shoulders of the trials will pass. Be still and know. Walking down the road, all alone, turned away from home. Why do you, dear, insist on trying to do things on your own? When you're crying and screaming that it's all gone away, that you've been put to shame. When will you, dear, open your eyes? The words I have, I will be here with you, with you, with you, with you. Wake up to the sound of silence. Be still and know that I am here. Take my hand, I will hold you. Wipe away all your tears. My grace is sufficient for you. My love will
Well, that seemed to work out well, right?
It did indeed.
It worked out really well. What is going on? Things are working out today.
They are.
Now that I said that, I probably completely jinxed it.
Oh yeah, we're gonna crash in a minute. Yeah.
Oh well. So how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm still recovering from yesterday's show.
I've seen the glorious amount of Robin Hood deep fakes and pictures that have been circulating since the show.
You know that was that. I don't know who I know they said the person's name, but I've never met that person before. I'm not sure who he was, but that was funny. I put it up on Instagram today, actually.
It was so funny.
And what I did was I added your name to it so you could possibly share it if you want to.
Oh, I will. I
yeah.
will share.
I'm sure you will. So we have a great guest today.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. I was hoping to have both of them, but we only have one of them today. So, and that's fine. I've known Jay for a little while. Well, I guess I first met Jay because he asked me to come up on his show last year, and we've just talked since then, and we've become friends. He's a great guy, and he's definitely got some great stories. He's been through a lot, and I'm just looking forward to talking to him. So hopefully we have no issues, and it's a great show. So do you want to say anything about yesterday's show?
I do, yes. For those of you who have followed me for a little while, and the show, to be fair, because we've spoken about stuff on here, some of you will know that a few months ago, myself and Age of Darkness fell out because of Parachill's fallout, and videos were done back and forth. I still stand by the fact that I won. I think I did win. I think we established with Chris yesterday, but we got a lovely surprise of an invite onto Chris Mules and Dakota's Bald and Bonkers podcast. And generally for me, it was surprising that we got that invitation, but it was really good. We got to build some bridges. We both apologized for what we said to each other. And it was a really good show. Didn't get in the way of what the show was about, and we had a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, and I highly recommend everyone who's finished it and they finished this show to go over to Bald and Bonkers and watch episode 17 featuring Brian and myself. And it was, and that's where you'll see where the Robin Hood meme is coming from. But it's a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Anything else going on you'd like to share today?
What are you hinting at?
Nothing.
Unless you're on about what happened while I was in the green room.
Yes.
Oh, that. Yes.
And before I put you into the green room, what happened then?
Are you on about the shadow thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're just really confusing me. Yeah, just a weird thing. So obviously everyone knows that I've moved into Milton Keynes. I've got a lovely new build flat. It's a lovely place. Nothing creepy's happened here. I've contemplated doing some fun 3 a.m. games, try and do it. And while I'm sat here, I've got the corridor of my flat directly opposite me, so I can see all the way down the hall. And I got my studio and the bedroom on one side, the front door, and one of the toilets is on the other side, so I can see straight down. And as you can see the angle that I'm sat at, I'm kind of looking down towards my camera. And from the top of my eye line, I saw someone or a shadow go across the back wall. And it's really weird because I'm the only one in the flat because my partner's at work until midnight tonight. So it was weird. And what's even weirder, since while we're waiting for the show to load, Brian, I went to have a look and my bedroom door is now open. And it wasn't as I said to you on the show, I was like, well, the door's still shut, so I know Nadine's not come home. Yeah. So I walked up the corridor after making a coffee, and the bedroom door is now open. And it's really weird. So I was like, okay.
Time to pull out the SB7.
Yeah, definitely. I was like, oh, I actually have a camera set up in my bedroom at the moment, pointing out of the door.
Oh, cool.
See if anything happens. So I ran out and I set up a camera. So if I catch anything, I'll definitely share it to all of our socials and stuff, and on your Facebook group, so everyone who's watching the show today can see it. I can't promise there will be anything, but if the door does move again, I'll post it onto Facebook for everyone.
Yes.
And then maybe investigate my own flat. But Jay did make a fun point in the green room that potentially I have someone following me around.
Oh, really?
He said that I might have a buddy because I have some weird stuff in the studio room, stuff that I've had from locations I've been to. So there's a potential link there, but I don't know. It doesn't. If it's anything, it's harmless. It just walked past, but it was just weird. I didn't expect it. It just took me. I think you were halfway through saying something, and I was just like, just trying to convince myself. I was like, "Did you see something?"
Yeah.
And it was weird. It's never happened in here.
So I will mention something. We have somebody in the room today. We have Taryn Kerper. She is actually joining Through the Lens as a producer. So when you see the links going up, she's going to be putting up the links and stuff like that for the guests. And she's also going to be putting our link over to our YouTube channel. So if you want to hit that link and go over to the YouTube channel, that'd be great. And so let me do this. I did this for her.
There we are.
So I did that for her. And if you want to be on the show, if you want to be a guest on the show, in the description below is me and Lex's emails, but also Taryn's as well. And she does have a Facebook page. Obviously, most people do. So you can click on that link and you can go over and follow her or becomes friends with her. And so definitely reach out to me or Lex or Taryn if you want to be on the show. So,
and I would like to say a quick welcome to the team, Taryn, and thank you very much for turning this troublesome duo into a terribly funny trio. Yeah, I'm trying not to sound rude. So what's the word for free? Don't say the obvious one. Say the other one.
So do we want to talk, before we bring Jay up, do we want to talk a little bit about what's happening in March? Because I know we have touched on it a little bit. Do we want to say anything more about it, or do we just want to wait on that?
No, I think we can say something very nicely. As everyone knows that Brian announced with his lovely picture of the Sherwood Robin Hood that he is definitely coming to the UK. The planes have been booked. And at the moment, after yesterday, we had a meeting with the rest of the teams that will be joining us on this tour. And now we're in the planning stages of a route and we're sorting out locations when we're going to go there. So we've got a major filming event coming up for the majority of next month. And I think there's I can't remember everyone's names now. There's the Patrol are coming with us. We have GSI. I'm going to sound really bad. What's Rosie's group called again? I keep getting this
Portal
one
to
mixed
the
up.
Paranormal.
That's the one. Portal to the Paranormal.
Yeah.
So they're definitely coming. So there's also a small sneaky suspicion that if you are attending a paranormal event in Bosworth this year, that you might be able to meet Brian and myself and the rest of these lovely teams. So we've got a big thing done. There's going to be a lot of videos being done for both YouTube and Paraflix. And it's just going to be a really cool opportunity for Brian to actually hang out with us and him and get to know him in person rather than on this little two-way mirror we've got going on here.
I do want to give a little bit of a shout out. There's a gentleman in the room right now. He's going to be on our show next week. His name is Kenny Biddle, and Lex is going to be very, very happy to find out what Kenny is about.
Well, now you've got me intrigued.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool. You are going to like Kenny. I told Kenny today that you and Lex are going to get along really, really well. If people don't know Kenny, Kenny, he I don't want to give away too much, but Kenny is a lot like Lex, shouting out or calling out fakers.
Oh, pull up a chair. Come and have a seat, Kenny. We have a we that's going to be a fun show.
Yeah,
It's not it's not like
dude,
that
you
topic
have
has
no
caused me any
idea.
issues before.
Dude, you have no idea how great that show is going to be. Kennedy, I want to say Kennedy, but it's not. It's Kenny. Kenny is he's pretty awesome, and I'm really looking forward to having him on the show. So I think what we should do is we should bring up Jay. What do you think? Or should we make him wait a little bit longer?
Just make him wait 1 more minute, because I did this yesterday, but I also want to say a small honorary shout out from me to a channel called The Shape. Anyone in paranormal world will know who he is. He's a debunking channel. Bit hit or miss. Sometimes he makes mistakes, but he's honest about it, owns up to them, and he's done some great videos over the last couple of weeks for some very big named YouTubers who don't really get shouted down or don't get pulled down a little bit from their arrogant pedestals. So I want to say thank you to The Shape for entertaining me these last couple of weeks. It's been fantastic to see. And if you're interested in just watching some of the debunking videos, head over to The Shape's channel and check those videos out. Leave a comment to say that Through the Lens brought you to him, and hopefully I'll be able to chat to him one day. But I just want to say thank you to him for the video. Is great. Brian, if you haven't watched it, he did one on Jasco, and it's probably the best video I've seen this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I will definitely have to look. That is Taryn putting that up because she does have a group called I believe it's called the Paranormal Pizzas, I believe. And it's a group of 8 girls that go out and investigate. So, okay. So Jay, if you don't know Jay, you have to be living under a rock, because Jay has got a podcast called Studio Six Paranormal Podcast. He's a wonderful guy and just turning out to be a good friend. And you can see him all over Facebook. You can see him on YouTube. His links are in the description below. So if you want to go over and follow him and subscribe to his YouTube channel, I would really like to build his YouTube channel. I know he's got a lot of followers on Facebook, and he does extremely well on Facebook, but I'd like to push up his subscribers on YouTube, because he definitely deserves it. And I definitely want to talk to him today about his podcast on Friday that I thought was amazing. So if you want to go check that out, go over to his page. He interviewed we'll let him talk about it, but that interview was I can't even talk today. That interview was pretty cool. So I can't even talk. So let's just bring Jay up. There he is. There's the man. Now you'll notice that Jay is not in his closet like he was on Friday.
No.
And he's not in the mansion where he usually does a lot of his interviews.
Yeah.
But we get to see what he's like in his car. So he's all over the place. You know, the car, the mansion, the car. You're just everywhere, buddy.
I am. I have to be. You know, I got to keep everybody guessing, I guess.
Yeah. So you want to start, Lex, or?
Oh, first of all, I want to start off with to say it's an honor to meet you. I've leading up to this show and leading up to what you did on Friday, Brian has been singing your praises to me, and especially after your show on Friday, which I've seen parts of. I need to finish it, but the fact that the show that you did on Friday, the fact that you did it, it was really well done. It was very impressive, and I thought it was a wonderful opportunity for the ladies that you had on. So first of all, I just want to say welcome to our show and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's truly my honor to be here with you guys, and it's finally great to finally meet you, Lex. I mean, I've heard a lot from Brian about you, so I'm glad that I finally got to, meet you face to face virtually.
I swear it's been all positive, Lex. It's been all positive.
It's fine. I give myself my own negativity sometimes.
Yeah. So yeah.
True, very true.
True. Yeah. But we've got a wide range of things to cover on today's show with yourself. You're not only on a podcast, you've got your you're not just a podcast, you're also a medium, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, also a paranormal investigator. So we've got a trifecta of things to go through with you today.
Right. Yeah.
And,
So
yeah.
yes, just start wherever you want to ask me a question.
So I think I'm going to start with the question I always start with, just because it's all inclusive for all of these things. Is what is it that got you interested or invested in the paranormal? Was there an experience you had at a young age that got you into this, or anything like that?
Yeah, probably I go back to when I was probably around my teenage years or even before that. I've had different experience. I had experienced some things that I couldn't explain until probably when I was a teenager. I was like 16, and at that time I didn't realize I was gifted, but I knew I was kind of sensitive. And me and my sister, who's a year older than me, we both share the same gifts. We both walked into a house that we lived here in Lake Geneva that we moved into, and we walked in and we just knew there was something there. And we looked at each other and we're like, okay, this is going to be cool, you know. And that was the first time that I saw my first full body apparition standing at the foot of my bed. And it didn't scare me, it didn't freak me out. I was kind of like annoyed, if anything, because I was sleeping, you know, and I value my sleep. So yeah, so that was the experience I had there. We had like doors closing by themselves and being touched and scratched and all that. And so it was an experience. And then later on, you know, as I got older, I basically had different things happen that I couldn't explain. I started getting some of my medium gifts were coming through, and I didn't know how to handle it. And so I basically, to a lot of people that really don't know, I'm an addict. I've been an addict my whole life. And so I ran basically to drugs and alcohol most of my life. So having said that, you know, I ran away from my gifts until basically when I had my stroke in 2013. So
could you talk a little more about that? About what happened to you in 2013? Is that when it really started coming to light on your abilities and what you could do and stuff like that? Or
it probably wasn't until a year or so after that. The signs were there. I had been drinking a lot, and I had just met my wife. She drank a little bit, but I drank a lot. And there was one night that I didn't want to do it anymore. You know, I wanted to be with her, and I knew that wasn't going to be. I couldn't bring that to the table. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And I asked for help, and I prayed, and I woke up and had a stroke.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
I lost the ability to even remember what alcohol tasted like. I had no desire to drink. When I had my stroke, I felt off, and I had a lot of anxiety, and I was trying to read something, and it all looked like it was German. It was really bizarre, and I didn't go to the doctor or to the hospital till a day after. And that's when they said, you had a, I can't remember the name of it. It was some type of tumor that lodges, and it's still there. You know, it'll never go away. And the funny thing I found out the other day was anybody that has this type of stroke, only 35% people live after 5 years.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. And it's been since 2013, and here I am.
Just before you ask your next question, Lex, I just want to ask about, do you think, and you know, this just popped into my head and I wanted to ask you, do you think that it was somebody upstairs saying, okay?
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah, because I heard a voice say it to me that night when I was in bed and praying and wanting to stop drinking. I heard those words where you can't bring this to the table. You realize this. And I said, yeah. So, yep.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes I think the man upstairs really, you know, somebody's doing something to themselves or something. You know, it's just, I think. Sorry, that's me though. Sorry. I think he brings something down. He does a sign or something like that to say, you know what, enough's enough.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I do. I agree. Totally.
Yeah, I completely agree too. Wow, that's incredible.
There is
Yeah.
stories like that really touch me a little bit, because I grew up in a very religious household, and I think since I was 17, when my friend died when I was 17, I dropped my religious faith completely, and whether or not I picked it back up now is not something I ever talk about, because I keep that very private to myself. But it's stuff like that that really makes people, if you don't believe, it really makes you think about it. Like, because I was sat on this edge for so long between whether I do or don't, and then there's and stuff like that. It's almost gifting you, gifting you proof that there's something there. And a weird one that I get is, it's a weird view to have, and I'm very dangerous with it because I'm an idiot. But there's something my mum's always said to me. I've had I've had 5 or 6 different instances where I should have died, like in doing stupid stuff. There's one, I ran across a road and I got hit by a car at 45 miles an hour. Should have died.
Right.
Just didn't. Like,
Right.
And an asthma attack that hospitalized me when I was a kid. I remember this quite badly. Like, I just woke up one day and I actually couldn't breathe, and I had to try and walk myself downstairs to try and get my parents' attention that I wasn't breathing, and I survived that too. So there's loads of different instances like this. I've gone through stupid amounts of stuff and still come out of it. And everyone always says to me, it's like, because there's a plan for you, and nothing's going to take you off of that plan. And that's always been a weird thing for me. And hearing stories like yours, where it kind of confirms the idea that there is an external force there to help you when you do need it. It's very fascinating for me, especially since I've been involved in the paranormal field, which has just been a little over a year. Well, I think a year and 5 months. So it's been a short stint for me. But in that short stint, stuff like that is really making me ask the right questions.
Right.
So that's what I like doing.
Yeah, you've gotten rid of a lot of baggage, from what I can tell. And kudos to you, because that's freaking awesome. You know, I mean, for people to have gone through stuff like that, especially addiction, you know, I hear all the time from spirit, you know, look how far you've come. Look how far you've come. You know, you've done this, and I don't give myself enough credit, but I'm my own worst critic. You know what I mean? So that's just normal for me. But somebody had to actually stop me and say, stop. Look at what you're doing. You know, this is great stuff that you're doing. You know, look at how many people you've helped. You know, I mean, look at what I'm like, so I had to literally stop and just think, okay, and give myself 2-finger pat on my back. you know, because I don't do it for credit. I don't do it for, you know what I mean? I do it because this is the path that God put me on.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. So is it me or is it me?
You go ahead.
So I'm actually curious to know that why the podcast? Why did you start the podcast?
It's kind of funny. I was on a podcast. Somebody asked me to do a podcast. I'm not going to say who, but it was a year ago. And I said, sure, you know, and I was kind of looking forward. It was the first one I was ever on. And I went on and I was, you know, talking with these people, and I just was like, and not to be mean, but it just kind of felt, I don't know, it kind of just felt a little dry.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And not to be mean, but I mean, that's the way it kind of felt. And so I had to kind of think on my feet a little bit and inject some conversation. You know what I mean? Because I was wanting this to be a little bit more. And so after I got done with that, you know, it was an experience. And I was like, I can do this.
Yeah.
You know, I after that first one, I was like, I can do this. I know I can do this. A week later, I was on Facebook looking at somebody posted from Paranormal Buzz Radio.
Okay.
And posted a thing saying someone looking for a co-host for a new podcast. I was like, hey, okay. And so I contacted the person, which happened to be Shane. And so I talked to Shane, and I said, hey, I'm like, you know, I see that you're interested in starting a podcast. I might be interested in as a co-host and this and that. And we got to talking, and one thing led to another. And then at the end of the conversation, he flipped a script on me. He said, actually, truth to be told, I'd rather be a co-host. Can you be a host? So I was like, thinking I was going to be a co-host, and then all of a sudden it was, here, you're going to be the host. And I'm like, he's like, you can do everything. You know, you can do the social media, whatever you want to do, you can do it. I'm like, and so I'm sitting here, and I kind of heard Spirit say, yeah, you can do it. I guess you're in the driver's seat now. And I'm like, so I go from 1 week to thinking, or, you know, deluding myself thinking, hey, I could probably do this, to, oh, guess what I'm doing, you know? So I went to work. It took me a month, about a month and a half, to get everything ready, designs and the page and all this other stuff and the equipment and all that. And then we went live last year, April 17th.
So I was pretty well, because I came on your show, I think it was July. In the summer.
Yeah, it was in the summer.
So you were still fairly new.
Oh yeah, I was really new. Well, and I had asked you, I had sent you a message because we were you were friends with you and I on Facebook, and I was like, hey, you want to come on? I'm thinking to myself, this guy doesn't know me from a can of beans, you know. So
that's completely untrue. It's just, I just find it's funny because I just find, I know why me and Lex started this show. And I just find it interesting because you've had some really, really interesting guests on your show. And the dynamic between you and Shane really works well because a lot of times Shane, and I've told you this before, and like a lot of times when Shane is sitting back, he's almost like looking at the guest, trying to figure out, okay, I definitely want to ask this question. It's almost like you could see his mind going. And it's just interesting, Shane. And I know, Lex, you might not know Shane, but Shane is he's an investigator, but he's more on the scientific, and so he uses numbers and computers.
The best way to describe him, he's a nerd. He is, and he will be the first to admit it too. But he's one of those cool nerds that you want to go to a nerd's house because he's got all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It sounds a bit like me. I'm a huge nerd.
And you know what? That's nowadays. That's okay. You know, hot girls like nerds.
I was a nerd all the way through school. I was a nerd when people laughed at me for it.
You know what? I think the dynamic between you two really works well, and Shane is one of those guys that you can see, and I don't know if I should say this, but he's one of those guys you look at and go, okay, that guy's smart.
Yeah. Oh, you have no idea.
Yeah, without even opening his mouth, you just know right away.
And it's funny because I told him that. I'm like, dude, and no offense, but sometimes you can really make me feel stupid. I mean, seriously. I mean, because of the fact that he is very smart. I could pick his brain about any type of electronic device. Can you make me a device that works off of two-way radios, and this and that, or what's the frequency for this so that I want to make another spirit box, or something like that. And he would tell me right off the top of his head. He knows his stuff. And
yeah, and I remember him. You guys, we talked about that on your show, and he's one of those type of guys that when he sees something, he wants to open it up and see what's inside.
Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, he's got a whole list of things that he thinks are garbage. And that's not an understatement.
I just think you two are great. I love watching your show. I really do. Anyways, go
I
ahead.
appreciate that. Thank you.
It's always a fun dynamic to have. I think one of the things that Brian used to like about early days in the show, people would bring up their stories or about locations, and they'd say something like, "Oh, this thing happened in a year," and they're all trying to mull about what year it is, and I'd be like 1817. How do you know? It's like, because I paid attention in history, and I love history, so like dates and stuff is something I was always good at. But even stupid things, like I think we had someone on who was talking about the death toll in Gettysburg, and I knew it off the top of my head straight away. And I think it is quite. Someone said it. Taryn said it in the chat here that some guests are a bit nervous because she gets nervous because guests are really smart, and it's always a fun dynamic when you have someone who's really intelligent. I mean, I'm not smart. I'm just nerdically gifted in numbers and dates rather than technological stuff. I'm rubbish with techno.
Right, and I've seen your guys' show, and you guys work very well together too. I mean, so it's a good combination.
You know what? It's funny about that. I was thinking about this yesterday, actually, and I really was. When me and Lex first started the show, we had said that we wanted to bring out a dynamic of two guys just bickering at each other and just make fun of each other and stuff like that. But then over the months, I got to know Lex, and I started to like him, so I couldn't do that anymore.
Poor Lex.
Yeah, he's great.
He's great. When he gets to my country, it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Although I do need to ask Brian quickly, how tall are you?
5'11".
Oh, you're the same height as me.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to be like 6'3" or something. I don't know why in my head I thought I'd be like this.
I wish I was. No, I'm just 5'11". I think Jay's tall. Tall.
No, I'm shorter than you.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
5'10" and 3/4.
Oh, see, that's somebody that's what people say when they're under 6 feet. They always go to that 3/4 because they want to make them closer to that 6 foot mark.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. My wife is actually an inch taller than me.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
That's cool.
So,
anyways, Lexi, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
So,
ahead,
I want to touch up a little bit on the investigator in you thing quickly, because we're going to dive in more into the podcast stuff a little bit later on. I just want to go into I'm trying to figure a good question for this one, actually, to start off with. Well, how long has it been since you've done an investigation? Just so I know what I'm asking.
Actually, I was just at a place this afternoon. I was looking for a new place to do my podcast because I've got they hired new people at the mansion that I do my podcast, so I'll be moving out of there. So I was looking for another place, and actually I talked to one of the patrons there, and they said that they would love to have me there to do a live show. Long story short, afterwards I kind of did my own little mini investigation.
Cool.
And I kind of did, because I knew what was there at this bar. I knew what was there like 3 days before. It was a guy with a beard, kind of tall, and he's not really that nice. And so when I went there and I talked to her, and then I kind of just walked around and did my own thing and did some EVPs, and which I haven't listened to yet, but did some EVPs, and then I got this this guy, and came to me, and he's kind of like, "What are you doing here?" and I'm like, what are you doing here? So this whole medium back and forth, and I'm like, okay. So I kind of walked away. When I was talking with the lady, the patron, she had said, oh, and by the way, there was another team that was investigating, and they actually got a picture of a shadow person in that hallway where you were just at, and that's where I seen it.
Oh wow.
I'm like, okay, so that validated me there. So yeah, I knew that was him. So that was probably one of the things that, as of recently, I've also investigated the mansion where I do my podcast, and that's kind of like an ongoing thing. So every time I do my podcast, I usually run EVP sessions, after the show, because I'm usually, cleaning up or just finishing up or whatever, and I'm in a office room by myself. So I've caught in some good EVPs from there. I'm on a show with Our Haunted Lives.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the spirit that's there, I can't say his name because I said I wouldn't, but he's another one that's got some issues, and he was over my shoulder, and I could tell he was watching the show, and when Christy Grissom was talking, he did not like her, and so he affected her. So she was like, why am I getting so nauseous? And I'm like, dude, stop. And so she kind of got the same inkling of who it was, and so she was validating actually what I was kind of seeing or sensing. And yeah, so after that show, I did an EVP session, and I said, what the hell was that? And I ran my EVP recorder on my phone, and I got a clear as day message, voice. I can't make it out exactly what it says, but it's clear as day. You know what I mean? And he didn't like the fact that she was an outspoken woman, that she was speaking more than, he thought that she was speaking more than Dave was. And so he was just like, so this guy is pretty powerful. But other than that, I've ran into, I actually helped one spirit cross over from the mansion that was actually a victim of this person, that the spirit that was affected Christy.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of history. The house, the house or the mansion was built in 1856, so a lot of history there. So yeah, I've heard voices and I've seen shadows there, and every time I go there, the lights flicker. So yeah, they know when I'm there.
Yeah.
The owners are like, "Oh, Jay's here." So, yeah,
that's great.
So,
that's great.
So I'd like to build on that just a little bit. First of all, me and Brian have had this discussion before where we think that, and it's not something that's ever not really spoken about much during investigations, but the idea that spirits have conscious memory and that they can remember who we are. And do you find, and this is going to tie into the next question a little bit, but do you find, like, because you go to this mansion quite a lot and you're doing the show from there, do you get like a feeling that they're happy that you're here, that you're back?
Oh yeah, I get welcomed every time. Yeah, I get welcomed. And they were not happy. A couple of them were not happy that I was leaving, or that, because I tore down my stuff last Sunday, and I tore down my stuff and put it all in my tub and everything. And there's 2 kids there, and I had stuffed animals for them that I used to hang on my stuff. And sometimes when the cat toy balls that are on all the time, sometimes when I always turn my computer off, and then there's been times where my computer goes on, or the balls will light up or whatever, and when like the owner's in the office or something like that, So yeah, they weren't too happy that I was leaving, but
wow.
It was kind of cool.
And would that be down to the fact that you've been there for such a long time that they've
I've kind of cultivated a relationship with some of them. There's one named Eddie that's he died. He drowned in Lake Geneva. From what I'm gathering, he drowned in Lake Geneva. They brought him up to this house, and that's where he passed away. Now he's crossed, but he comes back often because he likes the house. He likes the people that are there, and so he used to like to torment the maids that were there. He would run up and down the hall, and when nobody was there, and
that's crazy.
scare the crap out of him. So there's a lot of different stories there, about him. And so yeah, I've actually got him on a spirit box asking him a question, and I was saying, Eddie, ask him this question, and he said, "What?" Really loud.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Really,
great.
really loud. Yeah.
So for people that are in the room, Jay, that don't know you and are meeting you for the very first time, what are your abilities? Could you explain them a little more what you can do?
I'm a psychic medium, so
Okay.
I can read people and give people readings. I can do the spiritual side, reach out to loved ones, or help them, if they have a message for somebody. I also do psychometry, where I can touch an object and find out who had it or whatnot. The latest thing that I did, started last summer, was like psychometry of pictures.
Okay.
Where I can look at a picture, I can tell what's there, what's been there, and this and that. And that's something that's very draining, but I've been able to do it.
Yeah.
I also get. It's kind of like it's the gamut. I mean, I don't think there's much I can't do.
Okay.
I don't really try to put a thing where I do this, do this, do this, do this. I just do. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to describe.
Yeah.
Like clairsentience, and I can never remember all the clairs for some reason. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it just kind of eventually evolved into these little. Now, I actually heard this too, that I was a trance medium, and I had actually just got confirmation from that not too long ago, and I've never experienced that, where a spirit will take over somebody's body and speak through them. I'm kind of hoping that I don't, because
It's a creepy one, isn't it?
It's kind of creepy, yeah, and I just don't, but I don't usually use tools. I don't use tarot cards. I don't have a pendulum. I don't know. I'm pretty simple. You know what I mean?
It's an interesting question that Taryn asked. Did you see that question? I'm actually kind of curious about that as well. Do you want me to put that back up there?
Yeah. Now, somebody listed all the clairsentience, the clairinstance, all that stuff. That's thank you for whoever made that. I'm gonna screenshot this just so I can remember.
Yeah.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Oh, here it is. Here it is right here. I found it. Let me just put this up on the screen.
Yep, that's all of them.
Yeah, so the question that Taryn asked was, are there mediums that do not have any psychic abilities, or vice versa, the people with psychic abilities that wouldn't be considered mediums?
I mean, like, if there's just mediums or just psychics?
Yeah, I think that's what the question's getting at. Like, are there mediums that
do not have psychic abilities? There's some, depending on whatever path they're on. I think that there's some mediums that are just that just reach to the other side for like messages and other things like that. But yeah, I have never known anybody who's just psychic. I would usually think that usually kind of goes hand in hand. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
and
I agree.
Oops, sorry, Brian. I just want to touch on as well. There's something that I think some viewers might get confused at when we're using the terms like psychic and stuff like that. I know there's people that I know that would say to me that, what do you mean? Someone who's psychic? Like, there's a big difference between the classical sense of the word psychic abilities as to actually what is going on.
Right.
If that makes sense, if I've worded that correctly, there is a definite difference between what people think psychic ability is and what it is you guys are actually doing and able to do.
Yeah, I believe so. I think so. I mean, it's just, I think it's, I mean, the whole psychic, the way people think of psychic mediums or even mediums, can be different. I mean, especially when you say psychic, because as growing up, as when I would hear of a psychic or something, I thought it meant that you would be doing mediumship. You know what I mean? Or that you could talk to the dead and all this other stuff. But from my understanding, I guess there is a difference, but I guess I just don't.
I think the problem today that, and I'm sure you can agree, Jay, that psychic, sensitive, all those things are thrown up in the air, like, like the terms are used so loosely.
Yeah,
I think in some ways, like over time, it's gotten really mixed up. What is what?
Mm-hmm.
And what sensitive can do, what a psychic can do, what a medium can
Right.
do.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of confusion comes, because everybody seems to be a tarot card reader. Everybody seems to be a medium now. Everybody seems to be an empath now.
And people had to entertain themselves during lockdown, didn't they? So they all,
right.
And it was actually brought up the other day on the show that I was watching about empaths. And is an empath a real thing? Because I think everybody has empathy. And I found the show really, really interesting, because it was a really, really good question, because I think everybody has empathy. And it's really interesting how these words are being thrown all over the place now, because if you go on TikTok, and I said it yesterday on yesterday's show, I think it was yesterday, but you go on TikTok and every fourth, fifth video is a tarot card reader now. And Lex made the comment, and like 90% of them don't know what they're doing.
I think that's a generous statistic. It's more like 98.9, but
right.
I think what I said yesterday was, I think people just found
when I do readings or something, or if somebody asks me for a reading, I believe that is a prompting for me to do so. I don't go out and search for people to do readings for. If somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, I would really like to have this done for this or for that," that is to me where spirit is prompting me to saying, "Okay, here's an opportunity to do this, to help this person do whatever." I don't advertise like, "Hey, here's some free readings," or "Here's this." I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe, because I feel that having my gifts and doing what I'm doing, my path consists of helping people. I'm not necessarily, and I'm not against this, but I've actually had people pay me for readings, and that's totally fine. And I think that people who are producing a service for somebody, kind of should have some type of payment. It's a service, you know what I mean? So I personally don't advertise that, because I'm just not there yet. You know what I mean? I'm not at that where I have my own website. I'm not, you know what I mean? It's not my livelihood, because I work a regular job. You know what I mean? So to me, I guess I would be kind of in the early stages of doing that, even, of growing or doing that full time, which I'm still learning if that's something that I'm going to be doing. You know what I mean? So.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned like the charging for service, because this was something we brought up yesterday on the other show we were on. And I know there are people that charge $10, $15, $20, $30 or whatever, which I think is fine. It's a reasonable fee. I mean, when it starts getting dicey for me is when people are charging $300. And
oh yeah.
And you have to trust them on blind faith that they're actually telling you something that's actually happening. So I think you've just encapsulated right there that one, advertising it like that, and I can't imagine you're charging $300 for a reading.
No. No. I'll tell you what. The one time that I did charge $300, it was for 5 people.
Yes.
It was a group gallery. You know what I mean? And it wasn't just a psychic reading. It was also the history on the mansion, and it was also, personal readings, and you know what I mean? So it was just a whole gamut of it. You know what I mean? So, but for one person, no way.
I've seen some sort of a fair few of them with some outrageous individual prices for people, and that's where I think a lot of people lose
I kind of look at it as if you're gonna pay $300, then the dead loved one is telling you a message, better tell you where the gold is buried.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely. So this is where the controversy of psychic readings and tarot cards and stuff come in. Is at what point is it taking money and profiting from someone's trying to get some hope that there's something there? Like, there's I think that's where the fine line is, and because people have jumped well over it, I think sometimes it can cause a negative trickle down effect on people that are legit.
You know the old saying of one bad apple can make the whole tree bad.
Yeah, shit sticks. That's the one I was told.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, you get one person in there that who isn't really gifted or wants to jump on the bandwagon of this. You know, thinking that they can, and then people, because there are people that are gullible or that want to believe, and they get easily taken advantage. They get taken advantage, and it's sad, So
Can I, before our next question, I want to ask you something, Jay, because I think you said something before the show. I keep on seeing a shadow behind Lex. Is there something behind Lex right now?
Well, like I said before, I mean, I don't think it was untrue that he had a company.
Yeah.
And I don't know. From what I'm gathering, it's what are you doing?
Yeah, because every time because I'm looking at you while you're speaking, but then I look up at Lex, and there it is. And again, it's one of those things that what I see is the shadows. I see the full mass of a spirit.
Now that's a new building, Lex?
Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, yes.
Okay.
Let's not scare him.
I'm not. No, I don't want to scare him.
Anyway.
But I'm kind of gathering there must have been something there before.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not I mean, it's not new as in built this year. It's been around for a few years, but
yeah, it's walking behind him.
Yeah.
And with me personally, I don't always see them through video. I see them more when I'm in person. But this one is strong because I'm seeing him walk behind Lex. He's going back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm actually curious to find out who it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I would definitely after the show, I would just do some EVPs and maybe do in a spirit box and just see.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn my recorder on my phone, and I will just leave it running for a little while because it won't pick anything else up. There's nothing else in here.
Right. I used to do that on my show. As I would run the recorder, and intermittently I would get somebody saying something to a question that somebody would ask on the show.
But what I'm sensing and what I'm getting for me, it's new. It just came there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm picking up. Like it might have been in the area, but it's new to him. It's new that's what I'm picking up.
Well,
it's weird that you say that because I'm doing it off my phone and it's hard for you guys are pretty small, but I've even kind of noticed out of the corner of my eye is something.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was just a shadow of him,
No, it's actually I'm seeing it at his when I'm looking at right here. It's on his right hand side. That keeps on happening.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to validate it.
No,
Make sure I see it.
That's what I said. But just before I ask the next question, I will just say if there is someone in here with me, go push something over in front of the camera or say something to my phone there. It's just going to be recording.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get something. Who knows? but and hopefully it's a nice buddy. As long as you're good.
Yeah.
Creepy stuff in this house. But I would like to just quickly touch on one more thing with mediumship, and I want to see how this goes hand in hand with being an investigator. I've seen a lot of mediums go on investigations, but not really being part. They're not the ones doing all the questioning and looking around. They're just kind of there to tell the investigators what they're picking up and stuff. Brian, I've seen it on your show when I first started talking to you. You had a medium with you, and stuff like that. And it's always been interesting. But what are the pros and cons to having the abilities you have and being an investigator at the same time? Does it hinder you and help you? Or if you'd like to elaborate a little bit on what that's like.
I've had both. I mean, I've been an investigator, and I've also been the medium on the scene. So I could say that I would rather be the medium on the scene, just because of the fact that, you know what I mean? I mean, I can, when I'm investigating, or when I have investigated, my mediums, yes, I'm still being a medium. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I'm not physically investigating, but then I'm being a medium and, you know, seeing things or hearing things or sensing things. But when I'm both, it seems to heighten it a little bit. It seems to be a little bit, but I'm trying to concentrate on one thing than the other. And it's like, yeah, it's kind of hard to have another medium with me when I'm investigating, just because of the fact that I'm going to pretty much pick up what she's picking up. But I've also had where, you know, this person may pick up something different, but yeah, it's totally, it's a different, if I was not gifted in this fashion at all, it would just be totally different. This is just a whole gamut of different emotions, feelings, and all this other stuff. So it's kind of, either way, I've had both, and so I don't think it's I think it's a help instead of a hindrance.
That's very interesting. It's always been a question of mine, because I've got no abilities, so I just walk into these places.
Don't sell yourself short, because everybody, and I've told this to everybody has gifts. Everybody has the ability to have gifts, and as long as if you're open and aware of it, but it depends on what path that you're on.
Yeah.
Your path may be just being an investigator and, you know, being a billionaire or something like that. Who knows? You know what I mean? But it's just, everybody's path is different. Everybody is an individual. Nobody is the same on any level, except for the fact that the path that they're on is their own. So if you want to, seriously, if you get a calling to saying, hey, I want to learn this, or I want to be a medium, or I want to help people cross over, or if I want to do, you know, whatever, you can do that. But it depends on your path and what your intuition and your heart tells you. Always follow your heart no matter what.
No, that's wonderfully said. Thank you. Just two things quickly. Taryn, I would happily read your memoirs. If you enjoy the accent, when I finish writing my book, I'll read it online for everyone.
Oh, Lord.
And for Renee or Lil Red the fam in the chat, my place is 12 minutes away in a car to a cemetery. So it's going to be about 25 minutes on foot, maybe, give or take. So I'm not next to one there. But yeah, thank you for that, Jay. That's very well put, actually.
Don't ever sell yourself short. Same with you, Brian. You need to stop whatever you're doing that's causing you grief.
You know, and we can talk about that after the show, and because there are a few things.
I know.
What I'm interested, because you have these obviously amazing gifts, and I always find it fascinating when a medium goes into a location and is using equipment. What is your go-to when you're using equipment on investigations?
My phone.
Okay.
I have my voice recorder on my phone. I have other apps on my phone. I have what's the one, Necrophonic on my phone.
Yeah.
Which I don't mind that. It's not the greatest, but I've had some things with it. Yeah. And and if I've used the SB7 and I don't have a problem with that. Other than that, a standard, like a REM pod type thing, but cat toys, pretty simple.
Yeah, I always find it interesting. Like I said in the question, I always find it interesting when a medium walks in and is doing an investigation. And as a person that doesn't, like, if somebody were to come in and go, that doesn't know anything about investigation, if they're on a tour or something like that, a ghost tour, and this is their first time there, the big question that I get, that I've been asked in the past, well, if he's a medium, why is he using equipment? And I'm like,
Mhm,
Shouldn't
mhm.
he just know?
Part of it is validation
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of the fact that not that, and even I go through this, being who I am.
Mm,
Um, Not that I don't believe myself, but it's nice to have some of that validation because of the fact that if you're going through something where you're going through a haunted location and you've never heard any of the stories of the place, and then
mm,
you want to experience yourself, and if you're a medium and you get this information, um, and you have nobody there to back it up or nobody there to validate it, sometimes, if you've got your recorder or if you've got your REM pod or something like that, then there's something to it. I've been to a location where I had not sensed anything. I'd be like, it's just residual,
yeah.
and but yeah, I think and not every medium or gifted person relies on that. They
Mm,
use strictly their gifts, which is fine, but I think that the human brain is you can it's we have free will. Okay, we have free choice. We have some have bigger egos and some don't. So when you get in there that position of being a medium, and then all of a sudden you think, I'm in a haunted location and I think I see this or I sense this, but you have nobody there to back it up or nobody there to validate it. Now, you could say, yeah, I could trust, what my brain is thinking, or I could get a little bit of validation through a device or something like that just because, it's kind of a safe bet. You know what I mean? But if you had a medium there that could say, um, this is what I got, and then you say this is what I got, and then write, mesh together, or you write it down and then you validate it later with somebody else. There's different tools, different ways to do that, but I try to keep it as simple as possible. Not that I don't trust my brain, but everybody has an ego, and I know that I've caught myself saying, do not ever inject ideas into something that you don't have any proof of. And that's when I think of it. When I get a visual image in my brain that says, and this person shows up right in front of my face, and I can see the color of their eyes, and I know this, and then later on I validate that's so and so. Yeah, but if I'm searching, if you're a medium and you're searching for answers, if you're actively thinking of something on a location of what it could be,
mm,
you need to stop. You need to let the messages come to you, because if those messages come to you naturally and you're like, there was no way I was thinking of that, why did I just think of that, then that's a more natural way that you're going to get that message or you're going to get that validation. Do you
mm.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah, I do.
yeah. So I that's why I always catch myself, do not insert anything. Always, like I said, write your stuff down, document everything, and if somebody can validate what you've written down, then you're on the right track. If you're way off, then you got to reevaluate. Is it my brain that's inserting all these ideas, or am I getting them naturally?
Mm, mm. And just while you were talking, I heard something in my
I
headphones.
know you did. I know.
Something tapped.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but
And it
something was
wasn't
in
me. I
my
was
ear.
just sitting here.
Yeah. So, Lex, remember that because it might have been at your end.
Yeah. So it probably would have been 1 hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Or maybe
I'll go back
yeah.
up, because at one point when you were talking, I actually looked up here because I heard someone
Yeah,
knock on
we
the
saw.
wall.
Oh, you know what I always find fascinating is that anytime I see a paranormal talk show or like ours, there's always something that happens, because there was one time where something flew over me on a show and I said, did you guys see that? So anytime we talk about the paranormal on a talk show, something happens, and
Mhm.
I am going to ignore that, Taryn. So anyways, uh, and that's cool, and I like the fact that you like to validate yourself, and
Mhm.
that says a lot about you as a person and what you're trying to do and what you're trying to
Right.
accomplish,
Because I'm human and I make mistakes, and
Yeah.
and I have free will, and I have all these things, I mean, so I have to hold myself accountable.
Yeah.
Because I cannot tell anybody, hey, you've got this evil spirit here in this house and this, and I don't really have anything. I'm just injecting it, unless somebody says, hey, that there's something there. Or now validation isn't always needed. You have to, like somebody said, you have to trust yourself, but you also have to trust the validator too. Always follow your heart and your intuition, and that's it. I mean, once you follow that, if you feel that that this is, I know this, I know that there's a spirit here, I know there is. It's for mediums, it's more of a knowing than it is a question. Is it here? You just know.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's all fascinating stuff. You want to I will ask the next question, and then Lex, you can ask him his final question that you always like to, unless you want to go on longer.
No, that's fine.
You know what?
I'm just
loving this. I'm just loving this conversation that we're having. It's been really great, to be honest. And what I want to talk a little bit about is your podcast on Friday.
Yeah. Okay.
I absolutely found it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the podcast, and I found it fascinating because I'd never heard about these girls up till probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And like the show that I'm talking about was on Friday, and what you can do is you can go over and watch that show on Jay's Facebook page. He interviewed 3 girls or 3 women that were deaf, and they're also paranormal investigators. And what I found out during that show is they're also mediums. So what was your take on that whole show?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I was just blown away the moment that I got in the room with them, and I could tell the energies were the frequency, the energy was off the charts. I mean, it was just, I had to validate that with my friend or my co-host, Elizabeth Merriquin, and she knew, she had that big smile on her face, like, oh my gosh, and they were all fantastic. I mean, I was hanging on every word that was being signed by their interpreter, because I've never interviewed anybody with an interpreter with sign language, and I just thought it was something that it was an eye-opener for me, and I felt like, I don't know how to describe it, but it was like just that the energy in there was just fantastic, and the answers were great, and some of the stories that they were telling were, like I said, I was hanging on every word was being signed. So
yeah, it was a great show. Now, I don't know if you've watched. I know you've watched our show, and I don't know if you've watched it from beginning to end. There's always a question that Lex likes to ask, and it is spun in several different ways. So I'm actually kind of interested on how it's going to be spun today.
I don't always change it. Just do it every now and then.
Go for it, Lex.
Okay, so imagine this, right? Whatever's in my flat today decides to kill me dead, and it turns out that I was a secret billionaire the whole time, right? And that secret billionaire money I gave to you to go and record your podcast and investigate any location in the world. Where would you go?
Gettysburg.
Oh, straight away.
Yeah.
I think Taryn will love that answer, actually.
Gettysburg. Gettysburg all the way. The second place would probably be your flat.
That's great. That's awesome. That's you know what, Jay? I've gotten to learn.
For anyone confused in the chat, what I mean by my flat, it's my apartment in the UK. We call it a flat for some bloody reason. I'm assuming because it's all on one level. I think that's why it's called a flat. But
yeah,
but Gettysburg's always a good one. We've had a couple of people say that to us because of the rich history there.
Yeah. Taryn is a big fan of Gettysburg.
I have ancestral ties to Gettysburg. That's why.
Oh, do you? Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah,
That
a
is
great uncle O'Dooley was a captain in the Confederacy.
okay. Cool.
Oh, cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
Mhm.
Well, you know what, Jay? I've learned so much more about you today that I just find fascinating, and we could probably go on for another hour, two
Oh yeah,
hours,
easy. Yeah.
and just um, talk about everything. And that's why we love doing this show, because we get to know, because once we bring these people, like obviously we know people and we watch their videos and watch their podcasts, but we don't really get to learn about them until we bring them on the show. And that's why I love doing this show, is because we really get to talk to the person and find out what they're really about. And I've
Right.
learned so much today, and you're just a fascinating person, and I enjoy your show, and I enjoy listening to you. And
Thank you very much.
keep doing your thing, man, because you're doing great things. But I want to say
Thank you so much.
thanks.
Yeah. So I'm definitely gonna have both of you guys on my show at the same time. That would be a great show.
Yeah, it would be.
Because and I will drill you guys like you would not believe. Yeah, you guys will have so many questions to ask or to answer. Yeah,
Oh, I'm more than happy to do that. More than happy.
yeah, yeah. So,
But I would also like to add to Brian is that it has been an absolute pleasure to get you on this show. It's
Mhm.
lived up to the expectations I had during the week when I've been sat here like I really can't wait to speak to this guy, because Brian's always said nice stuff about you. So it's actually been wonderful to hear you talk. And like Brian said, we could do this show for another 2 hours if we wanted to, or you know,
I really appreciate that.
if I wasn't going to get scared later on. But we've still going. So.
So can I ask you a question, Lex?
Mhm.
Okay. Where's your
Oh, did you just see that?
yeah.
Did you just see that? That was in front of you, Jay. That just came up right in front of you. Lex, you got to look back at that.
Okay.
Well,
Oh wow, that was crazy. Yeah.
Put a recorder down in your kitchen or in your kitchen. You have a kitchen, right?
I'm kind of in it.
Okay. Oh, that is your kitchen. Okay, so yeah, that's where you're probably. I would put a camera down there and just let it run, and leave an external recorder there, and I would leave for probably maybe go for a walk, 10-15 minutes, and come back.
We might
Let's
do
see.
that. Might
Yeah.
have to do it. Yeah.
So yeah.
Drill you guys. Sarah put up a comment. Unfortunately, I can't put it up on here, or can I? Let me just see. Sarah just put up a comment. I want to put that. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not sure. Oh, I'll read it. She goes, "Drill, you guys mean something else in UK."
Okay.
I tried to go
Reverse
past it.
that
I tried
back.
not to say it.
Reverse that back. Scratch that.
That's so. Lex,
I got
do tell.
nothing now.
Do tell, Lex. Do tell.
I got nothing now.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, great.
Thanks,
the show's
Sarah.
over. The show's
Yeah,
over.
thanks.
That's Sarah. Sarah. That's Sarah from Portal to the Paranormal.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
said that. But thank you for that,
That's funny.
Sarah.
That's
we
funny.
appreciate that.
Ended on a funny note. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. And I want you to go back and watch this, because something just moved up in front of you while you were
Okay.
talking, and that was cool. That was really, really cool, and people in the room saw it too.
Oh.
So yeah, it was great. But again, Jay, we'll definitely talk soon. I want you to have a great rest of the day, and thank you again for coming on today.
Yep. Tune into my show tonight. It'll be live.
Oh yeah, sorry. Give all your links and your shows and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you can find me on Studio Six Paranormal Podcast on YouTube and on Facebook. I have a show tonight. Carol Malone, who's promoting a new show, possibly with Travel Channel.
Okay.
So I will be, helping her to promote that, and then I might be doing a show with Elizabeth, a quick reading show from Studio Six. So we might be taking some guests just for readings. So
excellent.
we're gonna see.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're gonna see how that goes. But
And what,
Yeah.
time is
Tonight.
that, what time is that going to be aired? Sorry.
it'll probably be maybe 10 o'clock your time. No, not 10
No,
o'clock.
it'll be. What
Is it-
time are
it's
you
the-
on? 6 Central, right?
Yeah, I'm at 6 Central, but then the other one
Yeah,
probably
so
about
that's
8.
7
So
o'clock me. That's 7 o'clock me. I think you're an hour behind us. That's 7 o'clock me, which would be 1 o'clock
six.
your
Yeah,
time.
1 o'clock. Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
So
Do
yeah.
you have to work tomorrow, Lex?
I do actually, but not until 1 p.m. So
Oh,
There
there
you
you go. There you
There
go.
you go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Set
bed
up,
early.
set up
I've
your
got to figure
camera
out
and
what's
go
going
for
on
a
here.
walk. Yep,
Yeah.
set up your camera and go for a walk.
There you go, Lex. Set up your camera in your room and just leave your place and go walk for about an hour and then come back, because I guarantee you're going to see it
Oh yeah. I
or
guarantee
hear
you.
it or hear it.
Yep.
We'll hear it, yeah.
So
Footsteps.
that's cool. Thanks, Jay.
Yep.
You have
All
a
right.
great rest of the day. So everybody
Thanks,
go watch
everybody.
Take care.
Jay's shows tonight. Okay, everybody go watch that show. It's going to be good. Anyways, thanks,
Thanks.
Jay. Have
Bye.
a good one. Bye.
Yep.
Wow. I love Jay. He's great, and it's funny because we were talking about this before we came on live today, that Jay is completely different when he's away from the podcast than when he's on the podcast. And he gets very serious when he's on his podcast, and but his podcast is really good.
I could tell that because he told us he wanted to give us a drilling. So
I don't even know what to say about that, honestly.
it's funny.
Like,
I love differences in language. It's so funny.
Well, there's yeah, I guess that's well, I guess we kind of use that word here too for that. It's kind of a slang term if we wanted to use that, but I won't say what that is. This is supposed to be it's not that type of show.
No.
But everybody, I want to say thank you for coming in the room today. And again, next week we have Kenny coming on the show, and I can't wait for him and Lex to meet, because we might go longer than an hour on that show after Lex finds out what Kenny does. And I'm going to tell him in the green room. So, but again, everybody, thank you. And I want to thank Taryn for putting up all the links today for Jay and for Facebook and for our YouTube channel. And again, guys, if you can go over to our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button, that'd be much appreciated. And other than that, I'm going to say my goodbyes.
Lovely. And we'll see you all next week, guys. Thank you very much to Jay for coming on. Thank you to Taryn for joining the team and posting the links. We'll see you next week, guys. Have a good week.
You don't want to say anything else? Because I'm trying to... No, I'm just kidding.
Well, we can tell you about that time that I got some mail here. We got some more mail.
Bye, everyone. Bye, everyone.